Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're gonna be reacting to Why Is Every Movie Flopping Recently by Charlie, MoistCr1tikal. So let's get into it.
Experienced what it must have felt like for early human scholars like Aristotle when they'd sit and ponder the deep, complex issues plaguing society, as well as taking notice of things going on around them and trying to make sense of all of
Yep.
it. And today, my philosophical thought experiment was, why is every single new movie that's coming out flopping? With the exception of
Because everything has to be woke or else you're a bigot or a piece of shit. I'm not saying you shouldn't be nice to people. I'm just saying that, like, it's a movie. It's supposed to be a little out there. You can get away with it. It's a movie.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, most new movies that are coming out over the last few months are setting new records for how dog shit they're performing in the box office. These bad boys are flopping harder than LeBron James against the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. It's getting rough. And I just read this headline here about a movie I didn't even know existed being DreamWorks'
What?
lowest opening for anything they've ever made, called
Wait, DreamWorks made a new animated movie? It looks... Just from this still shot. What the fuck happened to you? You made Shrek.
Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. It brought in just
Teenage crackhead.
5.2 million so far on opening weekend. And this is a $70 million budget, and that doesn't account for any of the marketing costs. So this
That's
is
crazy.
looking like a
I've
historic
never heard of
bomb
it.
here.
What marketing? What marketing? I didn't hear this movie. I pay attention.
And this isn't alone. Elemental is still in theaters
that
and
looked like
is not
shit.
performing well. It was Pixar's second lowest opening ever, I believe. Like,
That looked terrible.
what's going on here?
What's going
It
on
was-
here? People suck. And millennials started making stuff, and I am one. And it's just like, yeah, we suck. I don't know what to tell you. Zoomers suck, millennials suck, boomers suck. They all suck. People suck. I don't know.
There's a question that I wanted an answer to, so I got deep into exploring the inner machinations of my mind in order to get an answer. I was nearly ready to draw a bath and really get after it, really exercise
Okay.
my noodle. And following this thought line to its natural conclusion, you reach two questions. Are movies just getting worse, which is why people don't really care to go see them? Or do people just not really have an interest in going to a movie theater anymore?
No, movies are getting worse. They hire these dog shit writers who have no experience writing for anything. They can hire them for cheaper and just pump out a movie, and the movie's just bad. And they're like, "Oh, you just didn't like it because we could call you a name."
Pretty much everything we do in our day-to-day lives has become extremely convenient, whether it's ordering food
No,
or just
no,
general
no. That's not it at all. No, it's just bad writing.
entertainment.
It's
You can watch
laziness.
pretty much every show and movie from the comfort of your own home.
No, that ain't
And you
it.
don't have to pay individually for each movie you want
'Cause
to
I've
see,
gone to
because
see
eventually
movies.
they hit streaming platforms that you have a subscription to.
If
So
it looks good, I'll
going
go
to a
see
movie
it.
theater is inconvenient. You have to drive to the theater. It's also expensive because the ticket prices just keep increasing
that's true.
exponentially.
That
And
is
God
true.
have mercy on your soul if you get a little appetite or a little thirsty and decide to buy something from the concession stand, because then you're out another $50
No,
buster.
no, it's
Because
not
that
good.
shit is outrageously priced. It is downright criminal how expensive things are at a movie theater.
No,
I went to see-
it's criminally. It's criminal how expensive everything is right now. It's bullshit. 2 years ago, I could buy anything for way cheaper than what it was now. And I'm not gonna get political, but maybe
See a movie today. I saw
maybe
the new
look at the
Indiana Jones.
ancient
I'll get to that in
fucking
a moment,
fossil
but it's what put this discussion
in
top of mind
office.
for me. And I bought a
Oh,
water
listen.
bottle, and not only did they have the gall, the fucking chutzpah to sell me a Dasani water bottle, but they charged me $8 for the Dasani water
I mean,
bottle.
you are in
That is
Florida.
sewage. Dasani is literally sewage in a bottle, and I paid $8 for the
It's because Coke owns the company. I don't know what to tell you, brother.
sludge.
Pepsi.
I really would have
remember.
rather paid $8 for each employee there to spit into a cup and I'd drink that. Not only would it taste better than Dasani, but I'd feel less scammed. Point is, it's expensive going to a movie theater and it's inconvenient. So, is that the reason why a lot of people are choosing not to go, leading to so many box office disasters recently? It's a lot of questions that I've been looking at answers for the last few hours since coming back from the movie. And I wanted to just kind of talk about it because I find it so interesting. So let's dive into the first question. Are movies just getting worse?
Yes.
And is that the reason why people aren't bothering to go? Because it's not worth their time to see it?
Brother, did you see Matrix, the newest one? It's trash.
I think the answer to that is probably no. But
What?
I do think
No,
movies
it
are
is.
getting less original because the budgets for films have gone up so much. Like most films are like $70 million plus budgets.
People just
Most of the time, even going north of 100
bad
mil, 200
writing,
mil,
and
and in
that's
the
it.
case of like Indiana Jones, 300 mil. These are, and it's an outrageous amount of clams in order to produce a modern blockbuster. So when you're gambling with that amount of money on a movie, most of the higher ups like to make sure that it's the safest possible investment.
safe is not a good idea because safe doesn't mean money, and you need money in order to make a profit.
They can make with it. So they choose to either make sequels or reboots or remakes, something that they know has a
No.
built-in core audience. So that
Yeah, but then you make it shit. Like, look at the Lord of the Rings show on fucking that one Amazon. Oh my god, that shit's garbage.
that's why you see most of what hits theaters these days is kind of derivative of other properties.
I
or
wish
just
they would
straight
stop
up a
doing
sequel.
remakes. Just
And I
make
think
a
that
fucking
leads
movie.
to a lot of people feeling like they've just kind of already been through this song and dance before. You're not getting a ton of unique experiences from huge blockbusters anymore. And I think that does play a role in it, but I don't think that necessarily means the movies themselves are worse. They're just so much safer. They just play everything super safe and by the book. Now, that's of course not talking about every movie that hits theaters. There's still a lot of companies that are doing low.
You watched any of the new Star Wars movies? They're literal trash. They're not good movies. It's not that they're safe. It's just they're not good movies. They're not fun to watch. It's boring. It's terrible writing. The characters don't make any sense. I
Lower
could go
budget
on, but I'm not
productions that
going
are
to.
far more creative and original. Of course, things like A24 and production houses like that. But on the whole, most of the big blockbusters are very generic, and it's food that you've had before. You're basically just getting junk food that you know isn't exactly like the best thing there is, but it's still good enough for a lot of people, and it has been that way for a long time. But I feel like at this point,
but
people are just
getting sick
losing
of
that
it.
sweet tooth. They don't really care to just keep seeing the same shit over and over
No.
again. Like superhero movies. Superhero movies,
Oh
even
my
the worst
God.
ones, used to still turn a massive profit. It was an infinite money glitch for a while, but now it's been patched.
Good.
Superhero films aren't guaranteed to make you money. Case in point, The
All new
Flash.
Marvel movies
The
are
Flash came
terrible.
out and it had a crazy marketing campaign behind it. They had all kinds of celebrities singing its praises, celebrities that you would think would hate it. Like Stephen King was going crazy about it, talking about how good it was. Tom Cruise really loved it, saying, you know, this is a certified semen siphoner. It's gonna make you nut, trust me. Kojima
no.
just posted a tweet talking about how great it was. Just so many celebrities talking about it being great, which I still believe was some kind of like paid marketing campaign that they haven't disclosed. I still find it so hard to believe after seeing the movie that all of these celebrities lost their fucking mind over it. Like, it's a fine film, but nothing that I think really changed the whole landscape. But they were talking about it like it reinvented the whole superhero genre. And it still bombed in the box office.
Good.
Now, of course, there are other factors
Ezra
at play,
Miller's a
like
piece
Ezra
of
Miller
shit.
and the crime spree Ezra Miller went on that went completely unpunished.
Yeah.
There are certain
No,
things
that guy
like
should be in
that
fucking
at play
jail.
with The Flash, but I still think even
For
if that
several
wasn't
years.
the case,
Fuck him.
the movie probably wouldn't have been a glowing success then either. I think there is legitimately superhero fatigue because most people are assuming that they've already seen all of this kind of shit before, so probably aren't going to bother going through the inconvenience and the extreme cost.
Oh, yeah. Why would you pay for that? Why would you go to that? Just to see the same bullshit you've seen a million times.
of
I
driving to a
understand
theater,
that.
paying for the tickets,
I
when instead
understand
they
that.
could just wait for it to conveniently drop on their favorite streaming platform and watch it from home without spending
And then be
a
bored
fucking
at
dime
home
really
because it's
aside
a
from the
bad movie,
subscription
but at
cost.
least they can shut it
And to
off.
extend this a bit deeper for today's experience, like I mentioned, I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I heard that
It's the
shit.
fifth entry into the Indiana Jones franchise. I actually saw it with my parents. This is the first movie we've seen together since the Avengers movie, the first one, back in like 2012. So
That was a good movie.
we decided to go to the theater and see it together because we all really like Indiana Jones.
That was before.
And it turns out the
That was before Marvel hired bad writers.
film is really struggling a bit with a $60 million debut. Now, this isn't exactly like a hard turbo flop or anything, but it's opening to less than what Kingdom of the Crystal Skull opened to back in 2008. And for a lot of people, that movie is considered a legitimate abomination in the Indiana Jones franchise. So I think there is a chance that people just wrote off the franchise
What
after
I
that
heard,
one.
this
And
is
maybe
worse
didn't even
than that
bother
movie.
giving this a chance. I'm really not sure. But yeah, the movie is not performing nearly as well as they expected it to, despite the film's
shouldn't.
budget being like
It's not
300
good.
million, which doesn't even account for the marketing costs, at least according to the numbers I'm seeing online. So this is a movie that needed to generate huge buzz, tons of doubloons, in order to turn any semblance of a profit, and it's not looking likely at the moment. So after watching the film, I'll give you like a little pseudo moist meter here. It's a fine movie. I don't
No,
think
it's
it's
not.
very good, but I don't think it's bad either.
It's bad. It
Like, I
has
wouldn't
terrible
say
writing.
that this is an example
I
of
read
a
a
movie that's so
synopsis.
shitty that people probably just wouldn't bother going to a theater to see it. It's one of those movies where it doesn't really try to do anything interesting. It plays it very, very safe. You go there, you'll be entertained for the runtime, but it's not something that you'll really remember on the drive home. It's something that's easily forgotten. There's nothing wrong with it. I think there's a lot of goofy moments in it that don't make a whole lot of sense, as well as a couple of plot holes, but I'm not here to do a spoiler review for this. I'll just say overall, it's probably the second worst Indiana Jones movie. I still think it's probably a little bit better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but not
Really?
by much. It doesn't even come close
That's
to the
not
original
what I was
trilogy.
told by a lot of
But
people.
again, I don't think it's like, an affront to God or anything. It's
I don't
not
believe you.
horrible. So this wouldn't really be something that I would think would be an example of movies are just getting worse and that's why no one's going to see them. But I do think this is an example of this is a very safe, generic movie that most people probably wouldn't bother to see. In movie theaters, that is. This would be something you'd flip on when you're, just perusing your streaming platform of choice.
And then you would
You'd
turn it
throw
off
on
because
for,
you're bored
some
as fuck,
background
and
noise.
you could go
Or
do
if
something
you,
else.
Or if you need something to kill fucking like 3 hours. This movie is way too long. I'm not just gonna give a whole Indiana Jones review here, but point is, I don't think this is a movie that's so bad that it's scaring people away from going to see it. It's just, I do think it's not a movie that would get people excited to go. They tried to
I'm
revive.
gonna actually go ahead and disagree with you. I think that the plot is extremely woke from what I was reading, and people are tired of it. Why did they make Indiana Jones a fucking cuck pussy who has to get saved by a woman? I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman being the main character, but write your own movie. Make your own fucking movie up about that. Like, the new Mario movie did that with Peach, and that was fine because that made sense in that universe. With this is like, oh my, it's so fucking stupid. It's just bad writers being bad.
A beloved
That
franchise
Kennedy
again.
lady's
and
terrible.
That bet is no longer working these days. Most people have seen through shameless cash grabs that just try and like piggyback off the goodwill of a great franchise that they knew and loved. And I think that's one of the big things that people are now just being kind of more conscientious of. Like, I know it's probably not going to be as good as the originals, so I'm not going to go out of my way to pay.
Yeah, why would you? It's like $30 for an adult ticket at the movie theater, and then if you buy a drink, it's $8 more. I'm not paying $38 to see a fucking movie anywhere. I don't even care if the movie's the greatest movie of all time. I'm not paying that kind of money. That's ridiculous. I could buy like a really high-end indie title on fucking Steam for that. Ugh, goddamn fucks. And I can play that game forever. I get the game immediately the day it comes out. The day the movie comes out in theaters, I get to watch it one fucking time, and then I don't get to fucking watch it again until it comes out later on a fucking streaming platform or something, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. You know what I mean? Fuck it. It pisses me off.
A ton of money for the tickets, and I'm certainly not going to pay a ton of money for the drinks and food, because I swear to God, with the prices the way they are, you'd have to choose between paying for a bottle of Dasani or paying for a
Paying for a bottle of Dasani, or whether you're gonna make your rent next month.
handful of rare earth minerals. Like, there's going to be like the same cost of a diamond at some point for a fucking bottle of Dasani at a movie theater. But yeah, I don't think that the main deterrent for people going to a theater is movies getting shittier, but I do think them refusing to take big, like, blockbuster risks on new IP or, like, more...
That's another thing. Like, no one makes any new movies. The only people taking a chance right now is anime. We're like, we don't know if this is gonna succeed or not, but we hired Mappa to do it, so... And then it fucking succeeds, and they make money. And then they make a season 2 almost immediately. Look at Death Mount Deathplay. The lady, the person that made the Ra Ra Ra. Oh my god, that anime is so good.
Bold creative projects is definitely something that is not doing them any favors, but I think by far the biggest contributing factor is it's pricing people out.
Also, if they went back to like making rated R movies, like, does anyone remember Blade from 1998? That's one of the best Marvel movies ever made, and it's from 1998. Marvel has been on a decline since Blade 2.
And it's just not convenient anymore, whereas everything else in the world is just getting more and more convenient, whereas going to a movie theater is going the opposite direction. It's getting less and less convenient and more expensive. So it's just one of those things where
I'd say that streaming services are also starting to get inconvenient, because every single TV network is getting their own streaming platform, stripping their shows off of another, and then you gotta pay for more than cable to watch TV again. So you might as well just pay for cable at this point if you want to watch a certain show, because, you know, fuck. You gotta pay Netflix, that's like $12 a month. Then you gotta pay for Disney Plus, that's like $12 a month. Then you gotta pay for Peacock, that's like $9 a month. And then you gotta pay for HBO Max, it's like another $9.99 a month. He's like, oh, well, by that time I might as well just signed up for cable and internet bundled, and hey, I get internet and cable at that price now, and I get to watch the same fucking garbage.
I think that's the biggest thing at play here for a lot of these flops that have been happening. It's not necessarily that the projects are shittier. Like, Ruby Gillman could be an absolute masterpiece. I have no fucking idea. But I don't feel like going to a theater to see it.
Did you see that still shot?
Because it just doesn't really capture me as, like,
it's not
worth
Shrek.
The inconvenience of going there for it. Same with
It's
Elemental.
not How to Tame Your
Elemental just
Dragon.
seems like a really kind of generic film. And that's not enough to get me, like, you know, in the car, you know, and putting my ass in the seat in order to...
Elemental, I mean, the same thing. The only, like, best Pixar movie, in my opinion, was Bug's Life in the 90s. And maybe something else, and I can't think of it right now.
Watch it just to see if it is generic or if it's, like, great. I don't really feel like bothering with that, and I feel like that's the way a lot of people feel. Because
DreamWorks was kicking ass. What happened to them? They got safe.
Expensive and it's inconvenient. So that's kind of my guess for the flops.
Trolls movies and shit.
Just something I was thinking about today, watching Indiana Jones and learning that it was not doing super hot in the box office, and I thought for sure Indiana Jones was going to be a shoo-in for profit, but clearly not. I think the age of being able to just kind of phone it in for movies and blockbusters and being able to make
people have had a fucking
tons of money off of very lazy writing or very generic
we're tired of paying
and productions.
a big fucking price for a nothing burger.
I think in order to stand out in the
place.
box office, it's being proven recently that you need a very strong, good movie. Like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That film is absolutely exploding. Another good example is Puss in Boots 2. Like, I think now we're entering an age where people are only going to go to a theater if it really seems
Yeah.
like something special that will be worth their time and they'll get a great experience out of it, as opposed to how it used to be where people just kind of go to a theater to see anything, even if it looked kind of generic, because they were in malls and everyone was out and about, like in
Yeah.
malls and shit. So I'll check out the newest superhero film just because it's there, and it'll probably just be some mindless entertainment for a little while, and it wasn't that expensive back then
True.
compared to now. So I
Even
just
then,
think
it was
times are
kind of
changing in
expensive.
the movie industry, and the top level execs aren't really realizing that, so they're just pouring more money into generic films, safe films,
That's
things they
fucking
perceive as safe,
stupid.
and they're not
So
getting the
dumb.
returns that they're expecting anymore,
So
which
dumb.
I think is an overall good thing. I'd love more creative projects. I think
That would be
everyone
nice.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. That's it.
Anime's
Yeah.
doing it. That's all I'm gonna say. The video, this video will be in the description. It was pretty good. I disagree with some of the things he was saying, but overall, it was good. And like if you like, dislike if you dislike. If you don't like any of my takes, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.